तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Between us and the world, there is a continuous relationship. For the external world, which we know through our senses, there is a one-to-one correspondence between the object or the objects that are presented to our senses and the transformation that is happening in the sensory system. And that relationship is a bipolar relationship. And in that relationship, there is an oscillation or going forth and coming back of the consciousness between what is recognized as an object and what is experienced as one's own person, the subject. That is the subject-object relationship. And we already explained on a previous occasion that when there is such frequent motion of consciousness between the subject and the object, we do not almost see there is any movement in that consciousness, and there is only the possibility of an emphasis put either on the object or the emphasis put on the subject. When the emphasis is put on the object, the experience is disease. And when the emphasis is on the subject, the experience is I am. But in most cases, they are so fused. I see this, I am experiencing this, where this kind of a verbal observation is not taking place. And so there is an identity of what is objectively perceived and subjectively understood. This is at the vehicle of the Jagrat level. And in that, the mind which is perceiving is so much entangled, tied up, glued, riveted to what is physically perceived, that everything else is excluded from that vision or that understanding. And thus, the hold of the specific on the mind is very strong. It is as if we are glued to what we are seeing. And just when we are looking at the film that was going on, although it was a myth, a false fabrication of ideas presented through colors which were shown on a screen, our concentration on each item made us believe that thing was there at that time and nothing else was presented. And that is the very primary experience of our mind. And this is called bondage. What kind of bondage is that? Bondage to the world of stimuli, the responsive mind, and the stimulant world becomes interconnected as if one is hooked onto the other, glued onto the other. Animals at an instinctive level, as they do not have much of a forethought or an afterthought or a recall of the past to ruminate over it or designing the future, but going instinctively of what is being presented there. They do not experience the bondage as much as a person who wants to free himself from this influence under which he comes. And this bondage is experienced only when we try not to concentrate on or not to be carried away by what is sensory or what is happening from moment to moment. And this happens when we try to withdraw ourselves from the world of objects and sit, for instance, in meditation, or want to concentrate on one particular subject. But these bombardments from various objects are happening to our senses continuously, and thus we find it difficult to concentrate on any one thing. So people complain that I cannot concentrate. My mind is drifting. But if the senses are allowed to have its own say, and the mind does not want to go to anything else other than the stimuli brought by the senses, that problem is not there. But that problem is there because we are not purely a kind of a sensory being. Reasoning is there, rationality is there, and so subjective abstractions are there, wanting to get away from what is physically presented and going into the mind alone without the senses. That makes man a Homo sapien, and therefore this problem is very much felt by man. So that is the second level. So the second level is where you lose yourself from the external stimuli and want to be with yourself. Instead of with the world of objects, with the perceiving self. And now that perceiving self, there also another kind of programming is going on. Although in the external world there are a number of forces which are not in our hands, we are only one among millions, and so many objects are flying around in this sea of energy, and your own body and mind is also one fragment of that. We have very little to do, and that is a tremendous thing to pull away from that. And now coming to the interior aspect or the inner aspect of our mental life, there we find even more bound than of the external world. Because in the external world, If a thing is harmful, you can move away from it, or you can get it removed from you. It won't come and haunt you unless somebody is insisting on putting it to you. But in the mind, what you want to dismiss, it comes back with greater force again and again to attention, and so the problem seems to be more binding than the problem of the sensory world. We have found one bondage at the physical level. Now we are finding another bondage at the mental level. And those bondages are coming from registered impressions which are functioning as memories. And those memories are not just a passive presentation of a memory, but memories which have dynamics, wanting to be relived. There is an affectivity which is impressed on all memories, and that affectivity is asking you to relive it, and this is called vasana. So at the second level, complication is further, and there's a plurality of distraction. You cannot push it away because it's all in your own mind. Another person cannot say it and eradicate it because only you know where the shoe pinches, and unless that person is a guru who knows exactly how it works, if I suppose that's possible for a guru, because he himself has undergone all those things at some stage in his life. And this is the second world. Now we go into something else. That is, neither the objective world is there, nor the subjective world is there. It is as if suddenly everything is effaced. But then you are incapacitated. You cannot use your mind. You cannot use your intellect. Even if you watch how the vasanas come up, there is no explanation why the rotation of memory is such that at the least expected time, occasion, a strong urge is coming. And something which you thought you overcome for a long time suddenly presents itself. And on closer observation, you can see that the time and space which we think we know is not exactly the time and space of the wakeful world where the segmentation is clear cut. But there are shadows of the future which may frequent into the present, and there are lingering shadows of the past which does not leave even when we are removed in time and space from that particular event. For instance, a guilt feeling. A guilt feeling haunts even much after the whole thing has vanished from public scrutiny, and there is no way for someone else detecting it. But in your mind it can wax stronger. Similarly, a hidden desire, like an ambition, or a greed generated by greed or revenge, when that comes, by merely pushing it away, it does not leave. And sooner or later you will find that you are working yourself into the clutch of it, of something which is making you behave in a certain way. Yes, you can see this in the life of martyrs. Even when people are not thinking of killing a certain person for a certain cause, he is already haunted by the feeling that he is going to be a martyr, and his thoughts and his behavior are all happening with causing interaction with the external world, that he finally becomes a martyr. He is happening to his martyrdom. This is where the mind is interacting with an external world, and a whirlpool is created in the world. In Sankhya philosophy, in their meditation, that's a movement of a parallelogram of forces, and that in your mind, from your mind, you throw a pebble, so to say, into the world of matter, and there it causes some wave, and that wave is made to grow bigger and bigger and then circle until that becomes a tidal wave. Things like that. And when you come to this third aspect, where you are cut off from the subjective and the objective, there you can know the effect of that through your physical and through your mental world. Whenever that impact of that is happening to you, either in the wakeful or in the dream, as a result of a certain happening in this unconscious. And all these put together still make only a part of the personal life which we call the psychic life. Yesterday I said that Western psychologists, they have an idea of the self as the ego, but they do not have an idea of the self as conceived as Atman in the Upanishads. Now coming to this Atman, the mechanism that is conceived by in the Upanishads, and which is now repeated in the Bhagavad Gita, of how Ishvara, God, Brahman, the universal self, is connected with a universal unconscious, a universal mind, and a universal matter, and how the same becomes a modified function in group life, group mind, and group programs, and become again particularized and made unique, personal, in the function of the individual unconscious, the individual subjectivity, and the individual physical constitution. That is the theme which is dealt with in the 15th chapter of the Gita, which is called the Purushottama Yoga. And thus we have here a great secret open to us, and that is a secret which one has to receive as a revelation, so to say, by working upon this world through a harmonious understanding of nature, working out through our relationship with social life, and working up a still higher level by lifting the consciousness out of all the modifications that can disturb the consciousness through urges, motivations, etc., by making it very, very quiet through a process of yoga, and then allowing that consciousness to be enveloped and be fused in harmony with what comes as a grace. So this grace part of it may look very superstitious, but there is no other way of going beyond these hurdles which I stated. It is the same grace which is coming to you in getting over the urges and motivations, getting yourself socially harmonized, and getting yourself physically in empathy with your physical nature, the nature of this external world. Thus the whole thing is what may be called a pratiprasava, a reversed regression in the same manner in which it was a progressive projection through which we have come to what we are. And thus, when a lucidity is established between our projected world and the original source from which that evolutionary projection took place, then in the same way we go back with a certain ease. And so what we call bhakti and samadhi and states of sadhana are all themes between these two extreme points, the bondage or the riveting of our interest with a physical particular object and becoming participant in a superior consciousness which cannot be likened to what we call consciousness in our wakeful or dream experience. And the quality of that changes by even pacifying the physical disturbances we experience. So in this getting back to ourselves, not only our mind changes, but the very thing with which the mind was precipitated, that also changes where there is no mind. So what we call mindlessness is not anything we experience when the mind is in its disturbed state. And this return is the main theme. So here there is a reference to the Kshara, the Akshara. Between the Kshara world and the Akshara world, we live everything that is individually possible. And then there is here the reference to Purushottama. And unless that also becomes part of the whole deal, you cannot say we have understood Brahman For there is what is called Brahmapuyam, Brahmasparsha, or Nirvana. This is what I had to say in as an introduction to this chapter. Urdhamoolamadhashakam Ashwatham Prahuravayam Chandamsi Yasya Parnani Yastam Veda Savedaved. Krishna said, they speak of an unexpected holy fig tree, Ashwatham, with roots above and branches below, whose leaves and sacred verses, he who knows, it is a Veda knower. On a prior occasion, when we considered the meaning of the word Veda, we said that our reference here is not to a book as such. The source of knowledge, the experiencing of knowledge, the object that is known, and the consciousness that modulates as that object. When we put all this in one circle and understand it, then that is called the Veda. And here, the Vedavid. The Vedavid is defined. The Vedavid knows of a tree whose root is up and the branches are below, and its leaves are chandas. What baffles us very much is there are ever so many sounds in this world. But in a particular language, two sounds are not put together for some reason. And so words are always coined by relating two sounds in that particular system. But at the same time, we find in another language that is used. There's a great scholar in India called Mr. Narayana Menon, who did a great study on the matras, the meters, which go into the making of the various poetical meters. We have some Sanskrit meters in Dravidian, etc. And they all go in such a way that when there are two longs and two shorts and a long and a short, etc., they are modulated in a certain way, there arises a rhythm. And when you break that, at once you know that the rhythm is gone. And this is not something which is first made and then you are writing poetry. The language is coming from the people who live in a certain area where the geography of it, the climate of it, all has an impact on that person's semantic mind. So the semiosis that is happening is giving rise to a language. And that language has where the ideas are all coming through the sounds or the words. Thus, if we consider Veda as a tree, then all knowledge which we know are given in the form of thoughts, and thoughts in the form of words. And those words are like the leaf of this tree of knowledge. So you should know the root of it. You should know how it branches off. You should know how these leaves sprout on that. And from within, you should have an understanding of your knowledge. And then you can say you are a Veda knower. अधश्चोर्धं प्रसृत तस्य शाखा गुणप्रवृद्धा विषयप्रवाळाः अधश्च मूलान्यनुसन्दधानि कर्मानुबन्धीनि मनुष्यलोके. Here Andy has pictured it this way. Then the root, okay. So the roots are above, and the branches are going downward, and the Vishayas are all coming as sprouts on the branches. Adaccha mulyananusandadani karmanubandhini manushaloke. So below and above spread its branches. Some branches are going up and some going down. Naturally, some are going horizontally too. Sense values its buds. And downwards also there are ramified roots. Some roots are good like binding, ramified roots which bind to action in the world of men. So we are bound in the world below. But our real roots are given at world above. And there is a middle. The world above, so it can be considered as the heavens. The world below can be the earthly world. In between this there is a world of transactions. Thus we live in three worlds. The world of our desires to become something else, to enjoy all the hedonistic pleasures are considered to be in the heavens. And Nataraj Guru calls it hypostatic ideas. You may not find in the dictionary the word hypostacy in the sense in which he is giving it. But you have to understand it as that mentally you imagine a value which you want to actualize. For instance, democracy is a mentally conceived idea towards which individual nations are trying to perfect themselves. Communism is another idea that is also a hypostatic idea in that sense. So there are many hypostatic ideas. Going to heaven, the kingdom of God coming tomorrow, or the classless society coming tomorrow, etc. When we are all we are aspiring it and trying to work out toward it, and that binds us. And our karma which we have done here, that binds us here. We are so much tied up with our sense of responsibility, and and we cannot easily free. So if a call comes from the hospital, the doctor is allowed to leave immediately. Because the karma loka, they are tied. न रूपमस्येह तथोपलभ्यते नान्तो न चादर्न च सम्प्रतिष्ठा अश्वत्थमेनं सुविरूढमूलम् असङ्गशस्त्रेण दृढेन चित्वा तदपदं तत्परिमार्गितव्यं यस्मिन् गता नानुवर्तन्ति भूयः तमेव चाद्यं पुरुषं प्रपद्ये यदः प्रवृत्तिः प्रसृता पुराणी. Nor is its form here comprehended thus as stated, nor its end, nor its beginning, nor its foundation. These are all easy to understand because nobody understands fully what is this life. Even though we are all living life, we do not know what it is. We do not know from where it has started, its adi, and also we do not know its end. And what is it that is making it persist, that also we do not know. But it says you should cut its root. Asanga shastrena dritena chitva. Now some people say, oh, this is a sacred ashwatha, don't cut that. Here the Lord is saying only to cut some bottom roots where you are bound to karma. Karmanu bandhini manishaloke. So cut only these roots which are binding you to action. Otherwise, it comes from the heaven, don't touch that, don't tamper with that. But others say, no. First of all, the very first reference is Urdhva Moolam. So cut at the very root of this Veda itself is to be cut down. Why do you say so? Because Bhagavan himself said, Traigunya Vishya Veda Nistraigunya Bhavarjuna. Vedas is made up of 3 gunas and go beyond the 3 gunas. And what is Veda dealing with? Veda is dealing with dharma. And dharma causes all this samsara in this world. So one has to go beyond dharma. And that again comes in the 18th chapter when it is said, Sarva dharma paritijya mamegam saranam praja. So if what you look for is Brahmajnana, Brahma Darshana, you have to go beyond the pale of the dharma. The Vedas dealing with the dharma. And this is a Brahma Shastra. Brahma Vidya and not Dharma Shastra, although many people think that it is a Dharma Shastra. At least in the 15th chapter, there is a clear reference that this whole samsara and the cause should all be discarded. How do you do it? Asanga Shastrena Trutena Chittva. With this Shastra called Asanga. What is Sangha? Sangha is this riveting. When an external object is there, what is it that binds you to it? That you can never leave it. And that is a Sangha. That Sangha is generated by an interest which is happening between you and that object of your interest. And when the interest is no more there, you are automatically released from it. So I spoke of 3 levels of bondage. At the level of the physical, we are bound. At the level of the mind, we are bound. And at the level of vasana, we are bound. So this bondage at 3 levels are to be broken. See the bondage at the bottom part, bondage at the middle part, bondage at the top part. All these three you have to break. It is not doing any physical violence. Okay. When you say Shastra, a sword, Chitwa, cut, it looks very drastic. But it is happening, it's just the opposite of it. You are not very drastic, you are not cutting anything, only the interest is diffused. By diffusing the interest, it is already cut. But in that, why they use such aggressive words like Chitwa and Shastra? There is no slow weaning away from this possible. You have to make up your mind that you want a release or non-release. So the Vedantin says the first requirement is Nitya Anitya Vastu Viveka. You should have the power to discriminate between a perennial value and a relative value. And if your preference is for the relative value, you can go on hankering after all this. But if you are convinced that value is not for me, if you are convinced of that, then you are asked to discipline yourself to pull out of it. How do you do that? With Shamadamadi Shatka Sampatti. What is Shamadamadi Shatka Sampatti? To have Shama and Dama, Titiksha and Duparadi, and Shraddha and Samadhana by cutting off the external distraction and the internal urge, Shama and Dama, to kind of restrain you experience. And then, although previous addictions to things now come and it causes trouble, to withstand it, one should have a lot of willpower. Simple thing as taking tea or coffee in the morning, and then you decide not to drink tea or not to drink coffee. It's a hard thing. If these things are so hard, how much more hard are other addictions? These are the simplest addictions. Not to drink tea, not to drink coffee. But if you decide not to do that, there you understand what titiksha is. And there also you understand what uparati is. Uparati is you give priority to what you have programmed and unloosen your interest from all other things. And for that you need Shraddha. Shraddha, in this particular case, we say with Guru Vakya and Shastra Vakya, Shraddha is putting your entire trust in what is given as an instruction by the Guru, instructed by the Shastra. So here there is a vertical line in which Shastra, Guru Vakya, and Bhava, they all come in one line. And when they, all the three, I am convinced, my Guru said that was so, and I read in the Shastras. Shastras are recorded over thousands of years. It's a recorded experience of many wise people who have experienced the same thing. And then I am convinced, well, this is so. So this is Shastra. And that's called Shraddha. And when that Shraddha is established, the swinging of the mind stops. It becomes steadied. Sama, Adhana. Adhana is a support. Sama. that is not moving this or that way, is studied. Samadhana. Iha amutra phala bhoga viraga. Neither in this world nor in the other world, I am not looking for a reward for this kind of a discipline. And this I am doing it without any kind of a thought. I keep my myself entirely open. How exactly things are going to reveal themselves to me, that's fine. So I don't have a personal religion or a personal philosophy. So I'm not with any, I have no creed. I'm not a cultist. It's not with a cult that I'm looking at it. Iha amutra, iha means here, amutra there, phala, bhoga, viraga. I am detached from the desire to enjoy here or the hereafter. Then mumukshutva. I have this intense desire to be liberated from all these bindings. And that is my motivation. And if that desire is there, you have to win away with a determination. And that determination is not a lukewarm attitude. So the words chitva is used here and shastra is used here. But otherwise the character of that is very much shown in the word asanga. Having no passionate relationship with that object or that interest. And then it automatically ceases. So thus the whole thing is to be transcended. And then what happens? Tadapadam dat parimargidavyam yasmin gada nanvartandi bhuyaha tameva jadyam purusham pravadye yada pravarti prasruta purani. Then alone that path is to be sought, treading which they do not return again, thinking, I seek a refuge in that primordial man from whom of old streamed forth active relativist manifestation. Nirmana moha jidasanga dosha adhyatma nitya vinivrittagamaha dvandair vimuktaha sukha dukkha samjaya gacchantyamudaha paramau vayam. Those who are neither proud nor deluded, who have overcome the evil of attachment, who are ever constant to that value which pertains to the self, whose passions are withdrawn, who are beyond the opposing dual factors known as pleasure and pain, who are non-foolish, wend that way of life which knows no decay. So very beautiful words which gives us a clear idea of the quality of that person who is in the path. Nirmana moha. He is devoid of all kind of deluded passions of life. Jidasanga dosha. And he has not the vices which is born of the desire for attachment, the desire to have a very special kind of sensual or such kind of an enjoyment. Adhyatma Nitya. He is so well established in his pursuit of the Supreme Self. Vinivartakamaha, and he has attained his nivarti, release from all desires. Dvandai vimuktaha, the knowledge and the known. This duality, the subject-object duality, I and not I duality. From this he is free. Dvandair vimukta. And for that same reason, Sukha Dukkha Samjaye. And Sukha and Dukkha are the two dualities which comes from the other kind of duality of subject-object relationship. Gacchantya paramavayam tat. And that state of the Supreme is reached by him who is not a mudha. Mudha is when you are infatuated with one idea. Which binds you to any of the three words that we spoke of. Then you say you are no more a mudha. Nadat pasayade suryo na shashanko na pavagaha yat katva nanavartante tathama paramam mama. The sun does not illuminate that, nor the moon, nor the fire. That is my supreme abode, from which having reached, they return not. We read in the Mundaka Upanishad, Shedasudara Upanishad, Maitri Upanishad, the same kind of reference. We see this world because of the sunlight. If the sun is not there, we see it with moonlight. If moon is not there, we see it with the aid of the fire, or with the sounds, or touch. But there is a light which does not depend on any of these lights. It is the light of the self. But our dependence is mainly on these externally illuminated objects. As we have cultivated so much of interest with the externally illuminated object, we have alienated ourselves from the very light which we are. And even when we know as the individual light of a person, as myself, there is a difference in saying I am this body. There also there is an I consciousness. I am this body. And that is Aham Brahmasmi. I am the Absolute. That's also I am. And wherein that supreme light becomes a body-oriented consciousness of the self, or an individuated self. And where within the individuated self itself there is an unmanifested and non-individuated self. And that is the mechanism, I said, is for us to know through a series of inner revelations. ममैवांशो जीवलोके जीवभूतः सनातनः मनषष्ठानीन्द्रियाणि प्रकृतिस्थानि कर्षति. A qualitative unit, even of mind which is eternal, having become life in the world of life, attracts to itself the senses, of which the mind is a sixth, which abide in nature. This is a very important question to decide. When I see this world illuminated by an external thing, is it the self saying it or my mind saying it? If we take for granted that mind is a falsifying agent which superimposes in its ignorance a world of form on the self, and thus this perception here is not of the real self but only of nescience, only of ignorance, then this world has no reality at all. You cannot say that this world is even a manifestation of the Absolute. It's only a manifestation of ignorance. Philosophers like Ramanuja object to it. Says even when you see a thing here, which has objectivity, however temporal that is in existence, transcend in its value or significance, the perceiver of that is Ishvara. He is the Supreme Self. This is not acceptable to Shankara. Here, Rajaguru says, the Absolute, while still retaining its quality as the Absolute, here becomes Jiva, life, which attracts its nature counterparts. The individual soul, as a partial expression of the Absolute, can belong only to the Kshetra, field, or actual side belonging to nature. We tend to agree with Ramanuja when he places the senses and the mind on the side of nature, and when he says that the soul is an actual qualitative unit of God, the Absolute. Many writers have tended to transfer the spark or portion of the Absolute which pertains to Jiva, life, to the lower nature of the Absolute. But chapter 7, verse 5 makes it clear that life belongs to the transcendental aspect and not to the lower aspect. Because where Krishna was speaking about the lower Prakriti and the higher Prakriti, and he kept a life principle to the higher Prakriti. So if we put all this on the side of nature or Prakriti, then our intrinsic relation with the Absolute is jolted and compromised. Step by step, when we are gliding back, if we have to realize that our higher self is God Himself, or Brahman itself, that intrinsic connection should not be snapped. शरीरं यदवाप्नोति यच्चाप्युत्क्रामतीश्वरः गृहीत्वैतानि संयाति वायुर्गन्धानि वाशयात्. When the Lord takes a body and when He leaves it, He takes this mind and senses and goes even as the wind gathering scents from their retreats. This is a very astounding words. Here the reincarnation is not said to be of an individual soul, but the Lord is taking our birth. All the incarnations of all the jivas are taken by the Lord Himself. And it is the Lord again who is taking the essence away from the body and reasserts to another body. That's the supreme intelligence which is required for the entire creation is ever resting with the Lord, and it is not thrown at the mercy of or the caprice of an individual. And then it is bristling with so many other questions. How Lord with His infinite knowledge and omniscience could, after taking this body, get into such kind of bondage and then struggle. Here, the same question is taken in Christian theology, and they bring in the idea of the freedom of the individual, which God has granted, even though God Himself. It is, man is created in the image of God, and God Himself is the divine spark in every person. Every person is enjoying free will, and because of the freedom of will, he is allowed to choose between right and wrong and take the suffering upon him if he is going in the wrong. That's a theological point. Shrotram chakshuः sparshanam cha rasanam khranameva cha adhisthaya manachayam vishayanubasevade. Presiding over the ear, the eye and touch, taste and smell, and also the mind, this one avails himself for the values relating to the senses. That's the same light which we have seen as the incarnating light is now here seen as connected with the very external senses through which our contact with physical objects are maintained. Utkramantam sthidam vapi punjanam va gunanvidam vimudhananupashyanti pashyanti jnanachakshuषा. Whether departing, staying, or experiencing, conditioned as they are by the modalities of nature, the foolish cannot see, the wisdom-eyed can see. Yadando yoginacchainam pasyandatmatyavasthidam yadandopyakritaatmano nainam pasyandajedasaha. The yogis striving also perceive this one established in the self. Those striving, those yogis of imperfected self, lacking wisdom, do not see this one. Yadadityagadam tejo jagatphasayade akhilam Yachandramasi yachatno tattejo vithimamagam. The brilliance which reaches the sun and brightens the whole world, that which is in the moon and the fire too, that brilliance know to be of me. So here, a duality which might have come to our mind by first denying the sun, the moon, the fire, and all such lights, and think of a light which is self-luminous. Then what about the other luminous rays? Do they come from a different source or are they separate? No. So just as our own consciousness is manifested, these lights also have manifested. And thus, the cosmological aspect and the psychological aspect are both fused into one, and they are given the same epicenter, the same hub on which all those revolve. Gama Vishya Bhudani Tharayamyahamojasa Pushnami Chaushadhim Sarvaha Somo Bhutva Rasatmaga. A more ontologic recognition is given here of the Absolute, which is right here under our feet as this very earth, and which pervading in that earth as an immanent principle which brings the soma, as Shakespeare says, the moon water. It enters into this, and it comes as the Aushadha, and thus the very nourishment that comes from the earth is shown here as the energy given to us by the very Creator. Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva Praninam Dehamasridaha Pranapana Samayuktaha Vajamyannam Chadarvidham. As the food that is here is said to be the Lord, but who is eating that food? That hunger in every person is also the same Lord, and through the mouths of the same beings that is reabsorbed. There the Anna and the Annada, the food and the eater of the food, are not two. Sarvasya jaho hridi sannivishto matta smriti jnanam abohanancha vedaicha sarvairahameva vedyo vedantagrit vedavideva jaham. And I am seated in the heart of all. From me are memory and positive wisdom, and its negative process. I am that which is to be known by all the Vedas. I am indeed the Vedanta maker, and the Veda knower too. Here, Vedavit and Vedanta Krit, two very peculiar expressions are used. Veda is full of rituals and the actions to be performed. In Vedanta there is nothing to be done, only to know. So it should have been given as Vedantavit and Vedakrit. But on the other hand, we have here Vedanta-krit and Vedavit. Why this kind of an interchange? Whatever duality that has come now through all this explanation between the world of transactional nature and the transcendental nature, instead of pushing them into two separate entities, they are to be brought back and fusioned. Your knowledge is such that it has validity in the world of action. Your action is such that it is valid in the light of wisdom. So wisdom and action, instead of they being separated or bifurcated into two, they are treated unitively. And therefore it is very significant that these words Vedanta Krit and Vedavit are used here. Dvimau Purushau Loke Ksharaschakshara Evaja Ksharaha Sarvani Pudani Kudastokshara Uchyade. There are two persons in the world, the changing and the changeless. The changing comprises all beings, and the mysteriously fixed is called the changeless. So we had the reference to Paraprakriti and Aparaprakriti, and correspondingly we had Kshara and Akshara. Now here both Kshara and Akshara, instead of being called in Prakriti, they are both called Purusha, and a third is postulated as a Purushottama, which is neither of the two aspects of manifestation, but it is immanent transcendent and transcendent immanent. That's an expression which we read in Yastra's. Uttamah purushastanyah paramatmetyudahrudah kyo logatrayamavishya vibhartavyam ishwarah. The person paramount, however, is another called the Supreme Self, who, the eternal Lord pervading the three worlds, sustains them. So there the Purushottama of this chapter is established. Yasmaksharamadidoham aksharadabhijottamaha adosmi loke vedeja pradhidah purushottamaha. Because I transcend the changing and am even superior to the changeless, there I am celebrated in the world and in the Vedas as the paramount Purusha, the Purushottama. Yo mamevam asammudho janadi purushottamam sa sarvavid bhajati mam sarvabhavena bharata. He who undeluded thus knows me, the paramount person. He, the all-knower, adores me in all aspects of Bharata. So once again it is brought back to Bhakti and Bhajana, where from the external objects which we experience, through all the transactions we get into with people and society, and going into the silence of one's meditation and getting into samadhi, into the state of kaivalya, in all this you understand and recognize the Purushottama, and total adoration is given to the Lord. Yedi guhyadamam shastramidamuktam maya nakha Yedat bhutva buddhiman syat kridakrityascha bharata. Thus, this most secret doctrine has been taught by me, O sinless one Arjuna. Understanding this, one becomes wise, and one who has done with all the works. O Bharata. And a very important word is given, Kritakrityascha. The mark of that realization is that one feels the purpose for which I have come to this world, that is done. There is nothing more for me to know or more for me to do. And thus the blessedness, the satisfaction of blessedness comes. And that is fulfilling. That is fulfillment of life. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avashishyate. Om